you when you're stoned. I feel like I'd be better off on my own.
Even though I only have a bat on the floor, I think it's in the bed. Oh,
Well, I
maybe
don't
it's
wanna
nothing in
lose
that
you
mark.
in the
Trying to speed up
smoke.
for you. Oh, look at the cleanse, look at the moves. Thank
I feel like I'd be
What
better
was
off
that?
all alone.
Smith's looking confused and dazed, and it's gonna be a follow-away. Still on point club. You're gonna be kidding me. Takes down Hiroshima as well.
Forget my fate, that's kicked off to the side.
Esports, professional gaming. This goes by many names. What is it? How has it come to be? How long will it last? My name's Scott Robertson, and welcome to the rise of esports. Esports had its roots with arcade game tournaments such as the 1980 Space Invaders tournament in the United States, hosted by Atari, the developers of the game. In 2000, esports started to develop into the form that is known by today, with the creation of the Korean Esports Association, KESPA. This is most likely why Korea is still ahead in both the support and acceptance of esports. It started to spread more in years to come, with the number of tournaments increasing annually, with only 10 in 2000 compared to 260 in 2010. Esports tournaments now tend to be huge events, with thousands of attending and online fans watching the games as they happen, but this is not how it's always been. Riot Games' League of Legends was created in 2010 and became an esport in 2011 with the creation of the League of Legends World Championship. This event was watched by over 1 million people, with a peak of over 210,000 simultaneous viewers. These may seem like impressive numbers, but compared to 2015's World Championship of the same game, which brought in over 14 million simultaneous viewers, these numbers were tiny. This game, along with others such as Counter-Strike and Dota, have helped to show that there is a large market for esports tournaments, and with more and more people joining the esports community each year, it's no surprise that the money for these tournaments has increased a lot as well. With gaming being such a large form of media, it has both a lot of fans and a lot of critics. I wanted to see if esports was the same, so took some members of the public, some fans, some not, and asked them the same questions in order to see how their answers would differ and whether they would possibly agree or have similar opinions on some of the topics.
My name is Sam Nicholson.
I'm Duncan.
Do you think that gaming tournaments are a good use of companies' money?
I think that gaming tournaments are an effective use to an extent. I think that by the use of it, they can progress the industry, which is currently highly functional and does rake in quite a lot of money.
What is your opinion on gaming being seen as competitive?
I think gaming in most aspects is competitive. There are some co-op games or co-op competitive games where you're working with people to achieve a goal, but even then, most of those have leaderboards that you're still trying to work towards.
Why do you think that people call it esports?
Well, the E in esports stands for electronic.
Electronic sports, any sport on a computer, and sports are competitive, and so they're carrying the theme over.
Do you think that esports is a good or a bad thing?
I think it's a good thing. It gives people who aren't into normal, conventional sports an outlet and like a team that they can root for.
Have you ever watched an esports event before?
I have.
And what was that?
I watched. It was Immortals versus TSM, League of Legends.
And how did you feel? Like, did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it?
I thought it was an interesting game, and it was quite tense at times. But in the end, it was kind of a more of a stomp than people expect.
How do you feel about people classing other mind games as sports, such as chess, but don't think that gaming itself is a sport?
Is not right, because if you're using a game like, say, League of Legends, that has a lot of strategy in it. So why is the strategy in that game any different from something like the strategy in chess?
I think it's pretty much ridiculous. Because if you're going to class chess as a sport, you do just as much movement in League of Legends, Counter-Strike with mouse and keyboard than you do with chess pieces. It's not anywhere near, but it's just as strategic. It's nowhere near as intense in some situations and way more intense in others. So I think it's a ridiculous statement to make.
All it is people not being able to understand it as easily. So they're going, oh, it can't be a sport.
In 2014, Major League Gaming, a company that hosts eSports tournaments, was offered and accepted the opportunity to have a small tournament at the Winter X Games, an event which would see many winter-based sports such as skiing and snowboarding. It brought mixed opinions, with some people really enjoying the idea of seeing eSports branch out into the world of other sports, and especially at such a well-viewed event such as the X Games. But others had the opposite view and went out of their way to badmouth eSports. Even actual X Games athletes insulted the event that was hosted. And this asks the question, is gaming a sport, or has it become something different?
It should be classified as a sport, but it should be like football, like the difference between the Olympics and football and rugby. It should have its own little classification within it, with its own different style of how it works. Like you have rugby league and rugby union, you have the Premier League, and you've got different things like that all over the world. So it should be a sport because the sportsmen that play it spend a lot of time getting to a point where they are good enough to be professional at it.